Hello once again and welcome to our daily podcast. And for those of us who started with us on this new series, Farming System, I'm sure you had a nice time listening to our first edition. Today we will be taking up from where we stopped yesterday. Yesterday we talked about what constitutes a farm and what makes up a system. And we integrated both the farm and the system together to come up with a farming system. And we came up with a definition of a farming system. And we ended by talking about the key factors we need to have in mind when designing a farming system. Today we will be continuing from there and we'll be picking it in bits. Now we are going to be talking about resources. What are the resources that I need? Another word we can use for resources can also be talking about inputs. Now, what are resources? Resources are the factors that a farm needs to work. Resources are the materials that a farm needs to juggle together to be able to produce a set goal. A set goal here for a crop is to have a harvest that is bounty. A set goal here for an animal husbandry is to have a business itself that will transform into healthy animals that will produce the kind of profit that you desire. In this case, we are talking about here, we can define input also by saying these are factors that needs to be effectively managed in order for the farming business to be profitable. We can also break our inputs into two categories. We have the physical inputs. These are things that are natural to every operating process. For example, the water we need, the seed we need, the land in itself. They are natural, they are physical. Then we have the cultural input. Here we are talking about things that are not physical in itself. They have cultural influences. For example, you will need money, you will need skilled laborers, you will need an interaction between the physical and the market itself and every other factor that comes in. So these are all inputs, and there is the ability to combine them effectively will play a great role on the kind of results you get. Yesterday we also talked about processes. What are processes? Processes are actions within the farm that allows the input to turn into output. In the days that we are in, we will say processes are software. They are the steps we take. They are the working system we put in place to ensure that the inputs themselves are able to come together to get a result. For example, I still want to stick with maize. How do I plant? The seed itself will not just fall into the ground and begin to grow. Somebody needs to put it in the ground, or a machine needs to put it in the ground. How do I prepare the ground? Do I need to till it myself? Is a process. Do I need to use a plow to plow it and a harrower to harrow it? Is a process. Okay, how do I manage wheat? Do I need to use a mulching film, or do I need to spray it, or do I need to clear it physically? These are processes you put in place. They are the actions that need to be taken. How do I harvest? How do I store? You will discover that all these things I've listed out, they all have an impact on the end of the farming operation. The kind of process you adopt will go a long way to determine the kind of results you get. Another thing we need to look at also is output. Now, what's output? Output is the result you get at the end of a farming season or a farming cycle. Your farming cycle can be a cycle that naturally comes. It can be a timing you are putting in place. For example, it's okay, we take stock once in a year. We want to check what is the position of the farm. Now, output can be positive, output can be negative. Output can be profit, it can be a loss. So there is need for us to ask ourselves, what is the result that we are getting? Some of these outputs can also be enhanced. They can be enhanced, some can come as a result of nature. So there is need for us to have these at the back of our mind. And how we manage the input can also go a long way to determine our output. Let me give an example. How do you manage erosion? How do you manage pests? These are natural tendencies, but they have a great way to influence your product. How do you store your finished product? Another thing we also need to look at when you consider a farming system is your feedback and plot back. What is the system that I have put in place to make sure that this business is a going concern? If you go back to the definition, one of the definitions we worked with yesterday, we said that a farming system has to be a system itself that have a capacity to be productive, that have a capacity to be profitable, that have a capacity to be stable, and that is to be sustainable, have a capacity to reproduce itself in a progressive manner. So what system do you put in place? Are we going to just eat all our profit and forget about the business, or we are going to plot back a particular percentage into the business, or we are going to set up a growth system that will say, okay, every year we are going to increase our production capacity by 20%. All these are the plot back system. These pictures need to be put at the back of your mind. So even as we end this podcast today, I will read two definitions that really touched me. Now, we will appreciate this definition better because we have taken time to break down the processes that is involved in a farming system. It's a definition that was given by Lee and Miller in 1990. He says the farming system is a resource management strategy to achieve economic and sustained agricultural production to meet diverse requirements of a farm's livelihood while preserving the base and sustaining the high level of environment quality. Now, this definition is loaded. We can pick out words here and we'll stay on it. But three things I would just want us to take note in this definition is that number one is a resource management strategy. You design it, you plan it. It doesn't just happen on itself. You decide where you are, you know why you are doing what you are doing. You make up your mind that if we are following this pattern, we have a reason. So that means there's a strategy is involved. It is strategic in nature. It doesn't just flow. It's not if natural. It's thought through. It's a reflection of decision making. And it is meant to achieve something. It's meant to achieve something, economic and sustained agricultural production. Why is it necessary that we must have these two factors in mind? It is necessary for us to know that the essence of being business is for economic purpose. You are going to make profit. The business needs to remain sustainable. Sustainable here means capacity to remain in existence. You don't just go into the business, do it once and run away, or set up this business that will not have a capacity to come back. So like we talked about input, the soil is part of your input. Now you have used the soil to run three circles in this year. You know naturally that the health of that soil will not be the same way it was when you started in the first circle. What plan do you have to replenish the soil, to replenish the nutrients that have left the soil? All this comes together, and we must end also by having in mind that we need to preserve our resource base. We need to preserve our resource base and try as much as possible to make sure that our environment remains in the way we met it, and even better, because the environment is the feeder. We are going to come back to it. So that is one definition I want us to stick with. Then the second definition I will end with today is a farming system is a set of agroeconomic activity that is interrelated and interact with themselves in a particular agrarian setting. What is the key factor here? You must understand that every input, every part of a farming system, they are interrelated. If you have done everything you need to do well from the beginning, and at the point of harvest you didn't do what you are supposed to do, it will determine the end of the process. If you have started poorly, you started doing every other thing you are supposed to do, you planted the wrong seed, you didn't do a proper land preparation, maybe you went and scraped up the topsoil, and on the soil profile, your topsoil that is the only part of the soil that is rich in nutrients and is just 9 inches depth, that has that nutrients capacity to sustain your product, and you went ahead and you scraped it all. No matter what you do, it will have a great impact on the process at the end. So we must have that picture at the back of our mind that every farming system's activity are interrelated. Thank you very much, and I will encourage us to join us tomorrow on this same platform as we continue on our journey on the farming system. Thank you. For further inquiries on our products and how we can help you grow your agribusiness enterprise, kindly visit www.justoneplots.com. Thank you.